Chapter's item.
No, not as yet. Not as yet.
Hands off, hands off.
What, I was gonna say, was that what it was, or was
It's
it
a
turn
turn
on?
on, turn on.
Or the clap on.
Yeah, that's it, oh, okay.
The clapper.
Not to be confused.
To be lazy like that, I get it. I think they used to run that commercial.
Calling to order the Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Monday, March 6th, 2023. And the first committee is Public Safety.
I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee. There's one item on the agenda tonight, and that's simply a reminder that the amendment of Chapter 186, Section 16 of the City Code regarding fires and smoking in city parks. There's a public hearing that will be held on March 13th, 2023. And if there are no other items to fall to the committee, can I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. I'd like to call your finance to order, and the first item is the authorization for the mayor to enter an agreement with the Schenectady Foundation utilizing ARPA funding for the Healthy and Equitable Food Access Council. Ms. Diaz, it's not here.
No, I thought she'd be down here by now, but that item is going to be pulled. They have some further things they need to work out. It's going to be pulled for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Madam President, you're going to pull 1 and 2, I thought.
Yes,
Well, 1 and 2.
yes, 1 and 2.
Okay. Okay. The next item is discussion amending resolution 2022-214, a resolution appropriating American Rescue Plan Act funds for our mayor to enter an agreement related to such allocation. Ms. Porter, please.
Yes. Regarding this resolution, when we put it forward talking about the food access, at that time we had pulled the green market out. However, when we passed it, we included the green market in there and then had them separately once again. So this amendment is this resolution is to amend it so that the green market is pulled out from the $950,000. And because it already sits alone on its own in the resolution.
Go ahead.
So along that vein, I noticed that concern for the hungry again, I think needs to be in the resolution. It's in one part of the grid, but not in the other part of the grid. If you turn to but I was wondering about the green market as well, so.
Yeah, that was my concern. I didn't realize both. I think I pulled because I was going to ask what about concern for hunger and what about chicken?
Chicken's in there.
Yes. I
So
know
it's
about
concerned for the hunger.
But since it was pulled, we can wait and discuss that later.
Yeah, there is going to definitely have to be some further discussion around those items.
So
That's
it
why
was
it's being
pulled
pulled.
because of that, those reasons?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I cut into you.
No, that was it. I mean, it's actually page, well, on this, it's page 22.
Right.
Yep. Down.
But you said it doesn't have concern for the hungry, but it does.
It has it in column 3, and I believe that we wanted it included, and then it's not in column 1.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
So it's similar to the green market in terms of, the green market needs to come out because it has its own, but concern for the hungry. I just wanted to make sure that they were still noted in that
There's
allotment.
Yeah, but so they're going to have to like review just for, so when those applications, make sure that that everything that they've asked for are things that we can fund. So that's why it's not going to be going through tonight.
So, Porter, can you just recap for us, please? We kind of like cross paths.
It's okay.
Yeah,
So,
what are you looking to move?
on page 22, in column 3, it includes the green market as part of the $950,000. However, we had taken the green market out, and if you look on page 23, you'll see that the green market has $50,000 allocation all its own. So we're just simply cleaning up that language that the green market is not included as part of that.
So you're looking to amend resolution 2022-214 to move out Schenectady Green Market as a separate resolution now?
It already is there. We're just taking out, it shouldn't be in that column. It's already,
All right,
Yes.
gotcha. All right. Any other questions? Go ahead, please.
And then we're incorporating Ms. Patrick's comment of bringing the organization out.
Yes, we should do that.
Okay.
Putting it in, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Any other discussion on those two items? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is ARPA updates, Ms. Porterfield.
Well, Ms. Diallo again was supposed to be here, so I don't know if she's still in the building. Mayor, do you know?
I don't know. I didn't know there was a request to have her.
Well, yeah, so.
I know in the past, Mr. Colin had given us some updates. Is there anything you can give us, or you don't have that?
Really, this is out of the hands of the law department. Previously, we had provided the development department with a contract that they can use with the recipients of the ARPA funds. I can't speak to where anything stands in getting that executed. That was happening through development because they were, I believe, awaiting documentation from a lot of those organizations.
So what I'll do is I'll ask Ms. Gia to provide that in writing to us, so we can send it out to the council.
Okay. All right. Any other business for finance?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to call the order, government operations. There's only one item on the agenda, and that is amendments to Chapter 161 of the code regarding the collection of white goods, and that public hearing was held on 2/27. Any questions, concerns, or comments around that issue? Ms. Porterfield?
There was no one came to testify or to speak at the public hearing, but we did have a couple.
Email.
A big part?
Email, right?
Yes, we did have an email. Someone sent an email. Ms. Michael was just one email? There were two emails regarding it. And I believe both emails were not in favor of us changing it. So I just want to bring that forward. But I did, Mayor, in terms of the white goods that we've collected so far, I saw that there was an article where it said that we'd only had one like all month long.
I believe it's like 6 months.
1 in 6 months.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Or longer, it might be 7 months now.
Okay. Okay.
The whole purpose of that was just to be a little more efficient with the city, so we don't have trucks out for no reason, just for anyone who needed to refresh on that. Any other questions, concerns, or comments around that? Okay. So with that, I'd like to, I'll accept the motion to adjourn government operations.
Yep. Well, you gotta move
You
it.
gotta move it.
Okay, oh, I'll accept the motion to move that.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
I'm getting up the gas, man.
Getting ahead of myself, huh? All about efficiency here.
Move to
It's a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
I moved it.
Second. I wasn't sure, so I just moved
Now
on.
you guys trying to keep up with me, see what happens? All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
I'd like to call the order City Development and Planning. We have 6 items on the agenda. The first one is award bidding contract for the pine barren stump removal to Moy Enterprises. And Chris Wallen, walks in on cue.
Can't be looking at TV.
Timing.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
So this is a project that we've been working on. This is phase 3 of a 3-phase project. Phase 1 and 2 were for the harvesting of trees and wood lawn. And this is for the removal of the stumps. They're actually not being removed. They're kind of being pushed over, buried, and it's going to be like a loose graded kind of thing. And then the pine bush is actually going to come and start making habitat, like with lupin and things like that, and the fescues that you see in the Albany pine bush area. This kind
Excuse me, the what?
of Albany pine bush.
What was the word? Best?
Lupin and fescues, yeah, the grasses. They're not actually going to plant like sod
Okay.
and grasses. It's more like if you go to the golf course, we have different fescue mixes and lupin, and then the goal is to make habitat for Kerner blue butterflies, which is it's a big thing there. So this is phase 3 of the project. We were, I didn't bring it up. We did have, 3 bids. The bids were large range, Moy, SM, and then Carver. We did call the Pine Bush and speak with Moy, and this particular company has done a lot of work with the Pine Bush. It is one of their preferred vendors to work with. So given that we've been working with Pine Bush hand in hand for a couple of years on this, we feel no reason not to move forward with it. And it is within the budget of the project.
Are there any questions?
I'll move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Second item on the agenda is the award bidding contract for the Schenectady Municipal Golf Course, barn electrical services and upgrades.
So last year you approved a contract with, I can't remember the cart company off my head, but we're going to be getting a new fleet of Yamaha lithium carts in April, probably mid-April. We've been working with National Grid as we're going to need a new pole and transformer to serve the building because it's going to be a significantly larger service. Right now we have a 100 amp service that powers a power washer and some lights and a speaker system, but this is going to be a 400 amp service. Each cart needs its own outlet. There are 70 carts. So this will be to upgrade the electrical system from there. We've talked to the contractor. He's ready to go the second he gets the authorization from you. It's probably going to take about 3 weeks to finish. And National Grid already has the work invoice and check to do the work. And once the ground permits it, we believe they'll be on site. So we think we're going to be able to make it for that. And if you have to remember too, we don't allow carts usually the first 2 weeks the season opens anyways because the course is usually wet. And we don't want to sacrifice the course because wet and carts do a lot more damage early in the season. So this vendor we also work with, and we have confidence that they'll be able to successfully complete the job.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wallen. Third on the agenda is the creative outdoor garbage collection bins. Mr. Palomini.
So last time there was a question as to where garbage cans would be put. The vendor said that they, as I said, would not send some of their site auditor to the city without a contract in place. That being said, they did say they would be willing to put into a contract that the mayor and the council could have final approval of all the garbage sites if that's what you want. So that's where we're at.
So I did get a call from, I had a conversation with the head of the union that collects garbage, and they said that they had no information about this, and said they wanted, I guess they're having a meeting with the mayor this week, and said they wanted to be able to have a discussion regarding how this impacts, whether it's through collection. We already, for those of you who don't know, there was someone in the city that was doing something that was union work and actually filed a grievance and won that grievance. So not related to this, but related to something separate. And so they brought that up and said, if this is going to be about collecting garbage, et cetera, they want to be able to have some, to at least know what it's about and who's going to do what before we move forward with that.
As I said at the first time that we discussed this, it's basically replacing cans that they're already removing garbage from, so there wouldn't be any additional work for them. It would be basically a swap out.
This is 40 cans, but the gentleman that was here said that the cans that were decent, this would be in addition to, is my understanding, not replacing cans that we paid lots of money for.
Right, and so there are a lot of cans around the city, so those would get swapped out. We met with the mayor, met with Commissioner LaFond, and he was pretty adamant that this could be done with the city crew, and that it would basically be a replacement.
Well, I can only go by what the union says, because they're the ones that reached out to me, and so Mayor, I don't really want to put you on the spot, but I understand you're meeting with them this week. I know you can't discuss contract negotiations, I'm not asking that.
Well, I always find it interesting when the council is dealing directly with unions and bypassing my position. But we do have meetings coming up, but this is a non-issue. You should move ahead with this. Let's get it in place.
So let me just be clear, they were not bypassing, which is why I'm bringing it here and not having, discussing with them what will or will not happen. They told me they're going to be speaking with you, and I said that's fine, because that's the way it should happen. So,
Letter, we have a problem with letter. This gives us an option. I'll work it out with the unions.
well, I'd like to, sir, go ahead.
I think that, I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to add value to the city. It doesn't, I mean, they're free. And I think that it'll help us get some of our points across around the anti-litter plan that the council already passed. So I just want to say that I will be in support of this moving forward. And I think one of the emails that we got from a citizen, I think that's where it was, outlined some specific areas around the city that were in dire need of cleanup. So I was thinking, as I read that email, about this idea of what would be the sites for some of the garbage cans. I thought that kind of helped us lay that out a little bit in his email to us. So anyway, I just voice support for this.
Oh, yes.
So I'm also in support of this. It sounds like a really good idea, and doesn't seem like it's going to be to any cost. In fact, a benefit to the city. So I'm in full support of this, with the understanding and that it's not going to put us in a bad situation with the union, and that we are. I appreciate the amendment, if you will, a proposed amendment to the contract that where we can make that final decision to make sure that it's in line with needs in the city. However, so I want to be also joining with you supporting this, and also I want to make sure that before we move forward with this, that it's something that's going to be in line with our union.
Just want to say that I'm absolutely in favor of it. Mr. LaPiccolo is the one that sends us information all the time regarding, trash littering the city streets. So, and I think this is 40 cans, 40 or so, just on State Street alone. I mean, there'd probably be room for 20 of them. Anyway, and then also bringing some revenue into the city. So, and again, I defer to the mayor for making negotiations with our unions to work things out. So, I'm in favor.
Mr. Rudevera?
Yeah. As long as I've been in this council, we've been discussing litter, garbage, all over, every time. I think, speak for myself and speak for everyone, all of us will support this idea. But I came to the table with that very same concern with the union, where we had an employee who was picking up garbage when that's supposed to happen. They grieved it, they won the grievance. And I think we should give them an opportunity to discuss with the mayor to some sort of an agreement, if either way, and let's move forward after that. At this point in time, I think I'm very supportive of the program, but I want to make sure that the union is heard and the grievance, if they have any, is hard, and give them the opportunity to address it. And let's move forward at that point in time, rather than we moving now and you're meeting with the mayor this week or next week. I'm very supportive of this program, but that's my concern of waiting.
Okay.
Mr. Clooney, I had asked you, but I think you mentioned that in order to have outdoor signage, we don't need a special zoning or to change the city.
Correct, we don't have to do anything with the zoning code.
To have outdoor,
To have
company putting outdoor signs.
the city's contracting with the company.
Okay.
So it's not, just a private party. This is the city contracting to, so it complies with the code.
So because the city is contracting with the private company.
Correct, because it's the city is acting as opposed to a private party acting.
Perfect, thank you for clarifying that. I want to make sure that, because we don't want to go there and then realize that a private company is going to want to do the same thing and we don't have a control.
The city's right of way,
Yes,
so they would even need to get permission in the city's right of way to place garbage cans
thank you.
and stuff.
Mr. Williams?
Definitely the litter is something I grew up recognizing, unfortunately exists throughout the city, so I appreciate these efforts moving forward. I think my only concern was just placement, where a lot of the times, especially with the information and language that was brought forward, was high traffic areas. So I know sometimes litter might not be in high traffic areas, so I want to make sure, and I appreciate adding the language that Mr. Farley highlighted, where we're able to designate prospective areas, so that this does has an increased impact on the city. But then also making sure, because there was an email that came out addressing advertising, in making sure, again, that we have messaging that's appropriate for all of our residents in the city. But absolutely, I support any effort that is targeting litter, but also being realistic where we still need people actively putting things in garbage cans. So this unfortunately isn't the end-all solution, but absolutely is an appropriate first step.
All right, so, and also this, in terms of the amount of funding, I think it was $10,000 to $15,000, but then we still, what about our tipping fees? So we still have to pay out money for our tipping fees. So it would not be that, so our tipping fees would come out of whatever revenue we had.
We're paying
Well,
those
it's the
now.
same. We're already
Garbage
doing
is
it
in the
with
city
garbage
already. We're
cans.
paying for it one way or the other.
Except, yes, but but it sounds like there's going to be a lot more cans and a lot more garbage, so I just want to make sure that we're taking that.
I don't understand how you think there's going to be more garbage. We still, garbage sometimes is not where we want it, but I don't anticipate the amount of garbage increasing.
So, but what I am hearing is that we want to make sure that we're clear with the union first. At least that's what I'm hearing from myself and Mr. Mutaveran. I know that you're ready to move forward, but I'd like to give them that level of respect that they said they hadn't heard anything about that, so.
Well, I think I'll still make the motion to move it forward, and then, well, you have to ask for the motion. But
All right, is there any further discussion for that? And now entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
As I stated, I will wait until the mayor meets with the union, let them greet the concern. The mayor would appreciate you can update us on that.
I would tell you to move it forward tonight. This is really an embarrassment, you know. Mr. Palomini brought this up. Porterfield doesn't like him. We've gone into, we maneuver on all these minor things. You know, it's the white goods where we had one white good picked up in 6 months. Took 120 days to move that through. It's really an embarrassment. So if you want me to meet with the unions, I will meet with the unions. But the position, the administration's not going to change. The outcome is not going to change, and you're just missing an opportunity to move this forward in a timely manner.
Thank you.
I agree with that.
Because it's also, it's not related at all to the other issue of that grievance, because that was just an out of, it's different. They're
We have
picking up
600
garbage cans.
employees. We have grievances here on an ongoing basis. To take this and say one grievance should shift this policy is just foolish, or you don't understand the mechanics of the day-to-day operations of the city.
Well, Mayor, you said, you made a statement that I don't agree with, that I don't like this, I don't agree with it, and that's incorrect. And in terms of the white goods, it was a matter of that was done before it ever passed through the council. The council was never asked about it, so that is clearly in violation of the code.
I brought it to your attention, gave you the opportunity to move it forward so that it looks like the council is doing something. There's no action by the council, and we sit here and just spin our wheels. It's really quite a waste of time and effort.
Well, those cards were printed before it was brought to the council, so it was already
It's
done.
absolutely not true.
Okay, I mean, the calendar can show what happened, so we don't need to argue about that. Mr. Farley?
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, it seems like we all have more aligned with this idea than not. So it just seems like the question is, how is this going to impact the union? The union would be the people best to answer that, give them an opportunity to speak to that, and then we pass this unanimously and in lockstep with each other, because we all seem to think that this is a good idea. I just wouldn't want this to be framed as something that, there's not a lot of where we differentiate in our opinions on this. I think everyone wants this to happen, and I, from day one, was pretty vocal about, hey, I think this is a good idea. I think it could benefit the city. However, we allow ourselves to make an informed decision as a responsible governing body should, and I think that that's a good thing. So it doesn't seem like there's too much daylight between how everyone is feeling about this. I think there's just one missing piece, and that is how the union feels. We get that confirmation from them, and then we move forward. That would just be my suggestion.
I do hear what you're saying, but Mr. LaFond, who oversees the entire operation of our garbage pickup, is supportive of it, has said that it won't affect what the folks that are under his supervision will have to do. And I think that Mr. Palmetti, I think you cleared it as well with the company, that it doesn't in any way impact the work of the folks. It won't make any difference, I mean, in terms of their work. So I do feel like we're dragging our feet. I mean, because I mean, it was an evening of my surgery that this first came up, so it's how many weeks ago? It's several committee meetings ago that was in December or September. That was in September.
It was first presented for September. It was first presented
because it
for a
was the meeting I
presentation.
missed. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Palomini.
I guess I don't really disagree with 99% of what you said.
I'll take it.
There you go. So I guess the one issue I have is we're presupposing a grievance with the union where there is none. So there's a process in place if they have an issue to bring a grievance forward. So we are assuming there's a problem before there's a problem. So let's move forward. If there's an issue, they'll bring it forward. There's a process in place for them to do that and take care of the issue.
Well, I don't see this as I don't see it as presupposing there's going to be a grievance. What I said was that they reached out and wanted to hear about it prior to us making this. That is what I said. And so if that would, in my opinion, so they know what's going to happen and what will or will not happen, what we will or will not do, will avoid there being a grievance. But to inform a group of people who are going to be a part of this process, I don't think is the worst thing that we could do. Did you have something, Mr. Farley?
No, I'm kind of to your point. I was just reiterating, like, I don't think that we're, assuming that there will be a grievance. I'm certainly not saying that. What I'm saying is that, hey, making an informed decision by discussing all parties involved is the best practice. Thankfully and luckily, it seems like we're all pretty much aligned with support of the program as long as it's can operate within the parameters that it needs to. So again, talk to the union, move forward, and all is well. We'll see that.
So at this point in time, there was motion, it was not seconded, and we'll bring it back in 2 weeks after the mayor has had the conversation with the union. Item number 4, Division 1 of the Ladies Order of Hibernians and all people of Irish descent in Schenectady for the Feast of St. Patrick. Ms. Patrick.
Yes, this is our annual resolution celebrating St. Patrick's Day along with the Ancient Order of Hibernians. So they'll be here. I don't know if they're bringing the dancers this year, that they normally bring the step dancers, but so that's what this is.
So we'll just have a ceremony resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Entertain a motion?
So,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The last 2 items on the agenda are for property sales. So at this point in time, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're in